There's nothing more satisfying than working on your own vehicle, and you can save some money too. Now today I'm going to show you how to change the engine oil and engine oil filter in this old Range Rover P38A. It's a really simple job, but some vehicles do have some differences. So while this is just a general guide for you guys today, I would suggest that you go online, find the workshop manual for your vehicle to make sure that you've got everything covered. Particularly later diesels with DPFs have particular issues. You've got to reset oil counters, all that stuff. Not getting into that today, just the basics. All right, let's get on with it. So the first thing to do is to get your oil pan underneath the oil sump plug, drain plug, and loosen the sump plug with your ratchet spanner. Now you just do this until it's basically finger tight, so you can undo the bolt the rest of the way by hand, and you keep a bit of pressure on the bolt. This way you'll feel it click as you reach the end of the thread, and a bit of oil coming out perhaps, and then you can quickly pull it away so that the oil can drop into the pan without dropping the bolt into the pan as well, which you'll have to fish out later. Now with a new sump plug gasket on, you can now tighten up the plug, clean around the area. You give it about 10 minutes for the oil to drip out, and you can replace the sump plug here with its fresh gasket or crush washer, and then you can tighten it. Now you may need to use a torque wrench if you're not familiar with how tight to make this sump plug. You don't want to over tighten it and end up by stripping the thread. And here you go, that's probably about right there. And now we can undo the old oil filter. Now this is pretty simple. You just use your oil filter wrench, wrap it around, ease it off until it's you can undo the filter the rest of the way by hand. And you get obviously you have your oil pan, drain pan ready to go, because it could get messy here with the oil in the old oil filter, and also a cloth ready just to wipe up any excess oil that's spilling around the place. It's a good idea. Now once you've taken off the old oil filter, make sure you drain out all the old oil and dispose of it thoughtfully, environmentally, in a sound fashion. Once you've done that, you can get the new oil filter and smear a small amount of fresh engine oil on the gasket. This is going to ensure that there's a good tight fit on the new oil filter against the oil filter housing. Now you've wiped it up on the oil filter housing, and now fit the new oil filter and just screw it up by hand. Now you'll get to a point where you'll meet some resistance. Now that's the gasket coming up against the oil filter housing. When you feel that bit of resistance just there, that's the point at which you need to tighten the filter the rest of the way as recommended, usually 3/4 of a turn. You may not be able to tighten it 3/4 or whatever the specified amount is by hand, in which case just use your oil filter wrench just to nip it up that last bit. Now it's time to fill the sump with fresh oil, just maybe 300 or 400 millilitres short of the recommended total fill amount. This is so, and then you can top up later, but you just need to fill it up by that amount, just a bit short. Check on the dipstick how much oil has reached the sump. Give it a few minutes to do that so the oil settles in after you've poured it in, and then just top up accordingly. When you've done that, you can take out the funnel and tighten up your oil filler cap, and then start up the engine. Now if you have any oil pressure warning lights, now this one went out very quickly, but if your oil pressure warning light stays on for more than 10 seconds, shut down the engine immediately. You've got an oil pressure problem. Very rare. They usually go out almost immediately or within a few seconds, which means it's all good, you've got oil pressure. Now the last thing you need to do here for this job is just to check for any oil leaks anywhere. And once you've done that, there's no dripping oil that you may not have tightened something properly, then that's it, job done.